Everyone has a story, but there may be more to it than you know. Some famous people had humble beginnings. Some heroes were just ordinary folks. And other regular people like you and me changed the world, or found out just how extraordinary they could be. This is episode number 28, a masterpiece of minimalism. The celebrated self-proclaimed doctor of New York, London, and Calcutta traveled across North America in the 1830s, demonstrating the extraordinary powers of nitrous oxide, laughing gas. For the admission price of a mere 2 bits, his exhilarating gas caused human subjects to sing, dance, and laugh hysterically without a shadow of impropriety. So claimed Sam, the 18-year-old practical chemist. Not surprising for the era, the doctor lacked any real medical training, nor a degree. Yet his wildly popular laughing gas exhibitions earned him a tidy sum at a still young age. Perhaps more importantly, Sam's vagabond roadshow enlightened him to the value of promotion and how to use the press for brand marketing. He made himself a wealthy man and, ultimately, altered the landscape of American history. As a youth, Sam developed a keen fascination with aquatic pyrotechnics while working at his father's textile plant. At the age of 15, he built and successfully detonated an underwater mine in an event almost as remarkable as his laughing gas shows. Precociously aware of the value of advertising, he distributed flyers around his community of Ware, Massachusetts, promising an Independence Day spectacle of exploding a raft in an area pond. He continued to amaze at his boarding school, but the school sent him packing when his pyrotechnics scorched a campus building. Sam's father was becoming worried about his son's future. He arranged to keep the now 16-year-old from any more mischief by putting him aboard a sailing vessel, hoping he would learn something about seamanship. During the voyage, Sam became fascinated with how the wheel of the ship would spin alternately and be locked in a fixed position by using a clutch. That's when Sam conjured the idea of a futuristic firearm based on the ship's clutch mechanism. During his spare time at sea, Sam carved out a wooden model of his idea. Upon returning to the United States from his voyage, Sam enthusiastically convinced his father to fund the development of a prototype. But to Sam's disappointment, the first model exploded, and the second one just wouldn't fire. After that, Sam's father refused to fund any more of his brainy ideas. So Sam went back to work at his father's textile plant. That's where he learned about nitrous oxide, laughing gas. This gave him a brilliant idea. He packed a portable laboratory and went on tour, posing as a sort of a doctor, demonstrating the amusing effects of nitrous oxide for a fee of just 25 cents. His goofy gas entertained and amazed audiences. On one occasion, Sam's gas reportedly cured Mississippi riverboat passengers exhibiting symptoms of yellow fever contracted during their voyage. Being the only doctor on board, Sam administered some laxatives and laughing gas to the patients, and their illness mysteriously disappeared. Sam used the money he saved from his traveling shows as seed capital to fund another development effort with the help of expert gunsmiths in Baltimore. And this time, his prototype models worked well, and financiers were willing to back him in opening a factory in New Jersey. They had a few sales to the Texas Rangers and U.S. Army units fighting with Seminole Indians in Florida, but it wasn't enough to sustain the company. With the financial failure of his gun manufacturing business, Sam went back to pursuing his early passion for underwater mines. A demonstration of blowing up a boat for the U.S. Navy got him a few government orders, but his efforts were cut short by moral opposition to using underwater mines in warfare. Sam then turned his attention to developing tinfoil cartridges for gunpowder as an improvement over paper cartridges. He also cooperated with Samuel Morse in manufacturing waterproof telegraph cable. When the war with Mexico began, Sam got a visit from a Texas Ranger who traveled all the way to New York to find him, Captain Samuel Walker. Walker was a fan of Sam's work, and he had some ideas and requests for modifications. They improved the design together, and this model bore the name Walker. The famous lawman left Sam with an order for 1,000 units. This gave him enough capital to revive his business and ramp up production. A half-century ahead of Henry Ford, Sam worked with the family of Eli Whitney to develop a commercially viable assembly line manufacturing process with interchangeable parts that enabled higher output, consistency, and lower costs to buyers. The improvements in quality and reliability were as important as the weapon itself. Sam's armory was soon turning out 150 to 200 units a day, and with more pioneers heading out to the untamed West, the timing couldn't have been more ideal. Drawing upon his experiences as a traveling showman, Sam embarked on a P.T. Barnum-like marketing campaign for positioning his products in the minds of Americans and to the world. He commissioned artists to paint his revolvers into majestic portraits of the Western Plains. He hired writers to glorify them in novels and magazine articles, paid celebrities for endorsements, and presented world leaders with his fanciest engraved pistols, all to promote his grand vision. He even trademarked his autograph, so his name would be directly associated with his own brand. Samuel Colt's brand became recognized all over the world, and in many respects, his revolvers helped to tame the Wild West and shape American culture. All laughing gas aside, when he died at age 47, Sam left an estate worth millions. Ironically, Sam never fired nor even held the six-shooter most associated with his name, the Colt 45, also called the Peacemaker. This famous piece of Americana, for which Samuel Colt was most remembered, wasn't released until a decade after his death. And that's his story. Stories like these stay alive when we share them with others. How about sharing this one with your friends and family, especially your kids? It makes a great topic for conversation around the dinner table. I'm Rodney Powell, and you're listening to the Everyone Has a Story podcast, a production of realmedia.us. Remember to add it to your favorites. You'll never miss an episode, and you can hear each one as soon as it comes out. I've got endless stories to share because everyone has a story.